Hello and welcome to episode 248 of Sutton Impact Family Style. I'm Jason.
I'm Bill, and Jason and I have been talking offline for about half an hour on the Jekyll and Hyde NFL season. And it's been absolutely crazy. I mean, if you'd have told me last night that the Saints were going to not only beat the Buccaneers, but shut out the Buccaneers, and there was only going to be 9 points in the game, I would have bet that against that everything. I'd have bet my house and everything. I'm just in shock over that game.
Yeah. Although, as we said, the Saints seem to have Brady's number for whatever reason.
Yeah, there is. And then the Lions and the Cardinals. I mean, I think the Lions are much, much better than the record. And I like their coach, and I like the way they play. But if you'd have told me that score, I wouldn't have believed it either.
Well, especially because Arizona's been crying about not getting any recognition all year, and all of a sudden they've got 4 losses again, like most of the NFL, and it's sort of like, oh, okay, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, absolutely crazy.
And I thought this was sort of funny, but I think I was listening to Bill Simmons on The Ringer, and they joked that maybe Kyler Murray's new nickname should be Mr. October.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good. It's a little harsh, but it seems to be, yeah.
Now, tell me if you remember this or not. Do you remember when they talked about COVID this year that Goodell said they're going to make teams forfeit? They're not going to jumble the schedule. You're going to have enough players to win, to play, or you're not going to play.
Oh, I remember that very distinctly. So do the players who were not happy about games moving this week.
And now you do this, and you immediately give the Browns, just like last year happened to the Steelers, you immediately penalize the Raiders for something the other team did.
Yeah.
And that's what's wrong with it. At the very least, they should have made the Browns fly to Las Vegas and play in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
That should have been a compromise. But they don't think like that.
No, you've got teams playing on 4 and 5 games rest towards the end of the season now. And it's going to, in a tight playoff race, it's going to cost some teams.
And we get this crazy thing again. We've got Monday football, Tuesday football, Thursday football this week.
And Saturday football.
Saturday, Sunday.
And I know somebody playing tonight is also playing Saturday, which is just not good.
Not good at all. But, again, if you're really concerned about player safety, you should just made them forfeit it. If you make them forfeit it, maybe more people get vaccinated.
It's quite possible.
Or they'll behave better, and they won't be doing stupid things.
And as we also
because the forfeit to the Browns would have been crushing.
Yeah. And as we said offline, as I said, if I'm the Packers, if I'm the Chiefs, if I'm the Buccaneers, if I'm a legitimate Super Bowl contender, if I get through Christmas and everybody tests negative, I'm quarantining my entire team in a hotel. And just being like, look, this is a chance to win the Super Bowl. It's a couple weeks sacrifice. Spend as much time with the Canada your family, then we're bubbling up.
Yeah. Or you let them bring their wife and kids and nobody else.
Yeah. I mean, it's just...
Yeah, you got to do something.
Because we're seeing it in the NBA, we're seeing the NFL. Like, it's rough.
Yeah. It's insane.
And like I told you, I watched Saturday Night Live on Sunday morning when I was cleaning the house, and they had 2 cast members. Everybody wore masks and nobody in the band. And it was just like, oh, we're doing this again.
It was sad. It was that might have been the saddest Saturday Night Live I've ever seen.
And I know, like, in my house, we were slightly in disbelief. Like, despite clearly hearing things in the monologue that were today, it was still like, well, maybe this is an older episode, or...
Yeah. The funniest line of the night, I know we'll talk about entertainment. The funniest line of the night when Michael Shea said, I don't want to say there's discrimination, but Keenan Thompson and I are the only staffers working this event.
Yeah. It's nuts.
It was sad. It wasn't funny. It wasn't a funny episode. It was a sad episode.
Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, it could have been the funniest episode ever. It wasn't in general, but just the dourness of like, oh, we're doing this again.
Yeah, and it was just really sad. Kudos to Tom Hanks for flying in and doing that and helping out. But I mean, it was not a funny episode at all.
No, despite some Eddie Murphy.
We'll get back to entertainment later, but let's continue on with our NFL. So right now, I would pick the Packers and the Chiefs. Right now.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with that.
Based upon the way that Aaron Rodgers is playing, based upon the way the Chiefs are starting to play, even though their offense still isn't there. But the AFC, I mean, I just don't see the Tennessee, unless Indianapolis keeps going the way they're going.
Even then, they've got a Carson Wentz problem. He only completed 5 passes in that game.
Yeah.
And one was a kind of a shuffle pass, double reverse thing they gave him credit for a pass for.
Yeah. A lot of love came off the Mac Jones bubble last week.
Yeah.
They put him in some, tough situations. He was playing on the road, and playoff games are, if you don't have the number one seed, you could easily end up playing on the road and playing a very quality team. And they just were able to do whatever, they were able to run the ball constantly, just like they were like the opposite of the Patriots the week before. They did exactly what the Patriots did the week before, ran it down their throat.
Yeah. And they got that block punt early, and I feel like if you get a block...
It was 14-0 before you could blink.
Yeah. And if you get a block punt touchdown, it's pretty rare that you lose that game for some reason.
Yeah, and I mean, then you're putting a lot of pressure on a rookie. The rookie's down 14-0. It was 17-0. But I give him credit in the second half. He did bring his team back. He made it competitive. He played hard. I still think he's a legit rookie of the year, and I think he's a great pick, and I think he's going to be great for that team and that system.
Yeah.
But I just don't see them in the Super Bowl now, and I don't see, after yesterday, I don't see Tennessee there, despite the fact they could have been the number one seed yesterday.
Crazily enough, yeah. Yeah, I don't... Baltimore's clearly not there. Cincinnati's not there. The Chargers aren't there. I mean, I don't see the winner coming out of the AFC.
No. But like you and I said about Huntley, I think the Ravens are significantly better with Huntley at quarterback because he's a much better passer
than
Lamar. And he might not be able to run like Lamar, who can, but he can still run enough to make a difference. And I just think they're more of a balanced offense, and they're more capable of doing more things with Huntley than they are with Lamar.
And my understanding is that they have Huntley under contract for the next 2 years at about $1 million a year. So, I mean, not that they would trade the MVP and Lamar Jackson and all that stuff, but as a front office, you're probably thinking it's at least you could argue it's a wash between the two. I know we've seen Lamar being a league MVP and everything else. I won't take anything away from Lamar, but if I had all the cap space and the first round picks I got from trading Lamar Jackson, and I'm building around this team with Andrews, Huntley, and the line and everything else, I mean, that's a better way to build a contender for the next couple of years.
I'll tell you what I've seen. I mean, if you look at Gronk, Andrews, Kelsey, Kittle, I mean, there's some tight end is in a powerful position in this league.
Yeah, you look at both the guys the Dallas Cowboys have
to be a great team.
Yeah, I mean, you got Freiermuth.
Yeah, I mean, he's not in that league, but I mean, he's good.
He's very good, yeah. He's capable of the very little, you can block a little bit on the line. You can take an 8-yard pass and get the extra 2 yards from being bigger and stronger than the defensive backs trying to tackle you, which is pretty much,
And if you're Mark Andrews, you can run past everybody.
Yeah.
And he was amazing yesterday. And the only time they covered him, the only time they effectively covered him, they put it that way, was a 2-point conversion at the end of the game.
Which I think, well, we can do our analytic talk right now since it's been a hot topic. I mean, obviously the Chargers and the Ravens are 2 prime examples of teams that are just saying we're going to follow the numbers. But I think 2 things about the numbers. One, since only a few teams are going all by the numbers, it's starting to... We haven't really got the point where, Tomlin talked about it against the Ravens. Like, now the predictability factor is going to come in. Where now as a team, you're prepped that the other team's going for 2 all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to get caught off guard. You're not going to, you're going to be ready for it. And the other thing, too, is I understand I think it's 47% of the time you get it, which leads to more points, yada, 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 all that good stuff. But, it's just like in a class. You're a teacher. Like, the average grade may be an 82, but that's because there's certain kids that are always going to get in the 90s, and there's certain kids that are always going to get in the 60s. Mm-hmm. And if you're going for it on every 4th down against the Jets or the Texans or the Jaguars, your stats are going to look great. But when you really need it in a game, it's got to be situational. The Chargers lost that game because
situational. I mean, they lost 3. The last 3 games, they've had a failed 2-point conversion. 2 of them are at the end of the game. So if I'm doing analytics, I got to say, do I like my chances against the Steelers? I do, and I would not have gone for it. I would have went to overtime.
Yeah.
Do I like my chances against Baker Mayfield and the Browns in overtime? Yes, I would not have gone for it. I'd have kicked the extra point. The only time I would have went for 2 was yesterday because it's Aaron Rodgers. And that's the only reason I would have went for the 2. Knowing that if Aaron Rodgers gets the ball, if they get the ball first, there's the odds are we're not going to win this game.
It's quite possible, depending on your
And
defense.
so that would have been my analytics. It depends on who the quarterback is and who the other team is. If it's Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to try and win it because I know that's my highest likelihood is I have the ball. He's not going to get the ball back. If I make this, the game's over. But against the Steelers and Roethlisberger, and against the Browns and Baker, I think it was a bad decision.
Yeah. And you look at the Chargers.
If they had 2 more wins, they would be the number 1 seed. And they'd have a margin, too.
Yeah. And the Chargers passed up 3 field goals, and they lost in overtime by 7 points. So,
yeah. And they weren't long field goals.
No. And again, especially with the Ravens, going back to them, you're the best kicker maybe all time in football.
Yeah.
Like,
no doubt.
If you did stop Aaron Rodgers, the odds are you only got to go 40 yards and you're getting a field goal and you're winning that game too. In that game.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point too.
Like I said, I understand numbers. I understand how they worked. I taught math for 2 years between grad school and undergrad. But I think situationally, that's why I also think, and I've seen it in my industry as well, like, they use analytics in movies, and it's like if I have this screenwriter, this director, and this actor, it's a guaranteed success. And when it's not, they can just be like, well, it wasn't my fault. I followed the numbers. And I think coaches sort of enjoy that luxury now, too, of being like, look, we're a numbers team. We did the numbers. It's not my fault we lost.
Well, the other thing is, now they play at Cincinnati next week, the Ravens.
Yeah.
And if they lose, the Bengals already have a tiebreaker. If they lose, they're going to be a wild card at best.
At best.
And they have a better team than that.
They do. But.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
It's been fun. I've been watching my college. My 1AA or FBS, Football Bowl Subdivision, is going to be North Dakota State and Montana State. And both teams are fun to watch because I watched them both in their semifinals. And they're playing the game in Frisco, Texas, and both of them played in snow last week. So that'll be an interesting. And they're waiting, and the game isn't for 3 weeks. So they just had the semis, and they've identified the 2 teams to play in the championship. They don't play until January 8th.
That's crazy.
Isn't it, though?
Yeah. Oh, well, we're talking
after all the bowl games and everything else. So.
While we're talking, we got to talk HBC and Deion Sanders getting the number 1 recruit.
Yeah, and losing in the HBCU championship game.
Yeah.
And Deion said his team was overconfident and not aggressive enough and lost because and the other team was 6-5. The team they played. They weren't a world beater.
No.
But he did flip the recruit, and young Deion, the quarterback. Now you got this guy. They're making some moves.
They are.
And you saw they put the game. The game was on network TV. It wasn't on cable. So there's a lot of respect now for Deion and the HBCU. He's getting a lot of love. He'll probably get some more quality players, and you might see more and more of these games being televised.
And the only thing that really annoyed me about the entire thing is the response from some of the bigger schools complaining about NIL rules. And it's like, look, you lost out to a great coach. And again, if you have a 2-way player and Deion Sanders walks into your living room and being like, I can help you become the best, Deion Sanders is arguably the greatest cornerback of all time.
Right.
He scored a touchdown and hit a home run on the same day. Like, he's an incredible athlete. Like, if Deion Sanders walks in and be like, this is how I'm going to help your child.
Yeah.
And again, the HBCs, most of them are incredibly good academic schools.
And a great experience on campus.
Yeah.
And Tom Brady's tied in. He already signed the guy to a clothing deal.
Exactly.
Yeah, this NIL thing, like I said, with Lincoln Riley at Southern Cal, you watch. The LA is going to become a dominant player in college football.
Like I said, I was just annoyed at some of the teams that all of a sudden, it's like, wait, we already had all the advantages. Now somebody else is getting something. We got to take that away from just be better at recruiting.
Yeah.
And again, all those schools could have had Deion Sanders as their coach if they wanted him, including Florida State.
True.
And they didn't want him. So I guess we can move on to our other COVID-related sport of the NBA.
Yes. And the NHL. I mean, the NHL's got teams shut down for the next 2 weeks.
I know. Yeah, I saw the article worrying about the NBA is going to finish the season this year. And it's just...
Yeah, I mean, they're just making too many mistakes. And then I can't even tell you how pissed off I am that Kyrie is going to play part-time. I can't tell you how pissed off I am. And I immediately called up a couple people that I used to work with at the NBA, and I said, if David Stern was commissioner, there's no way this happens. No way. None.
Yeah.
So I'm upset. I'm upset about it. I think it's when you're shutting down Broadway shows, you're shuffling schedules, you're missing games. You got more players on the COVID list than you did when you started the season, and now you're saying an unvaccinated guy is going to be allowed to play, and then immediately he and Durant go into the COVID protocol?
Exactly.
How stupid is that? I mean, that's just legitimately stupid. And we always talk about optics. How does that look? How does it look?
Not great.
No.
Not great at all.
And I know the excuse is we don't have enough players to play. Hey, you got a G League team. Bring them up. Play them. If you didn't want to have a G League team to develop your players, you shouldn't have one. You got one, use it.
And this would be my year where I would scour Twitter and bring in shit-talking fans to fill out some of the roster from time to time and let them see how good they are. I think I would watch more NBA games that way right now. You know, anyone that's on there being like, this guy sucks. Be like, okay, here's your 10-day contract. Come play for us. The season's screwed anyway. Let's see what happens when these guys get out there.
Yeah.
And I know if you're the Nets, you're hoping probably to shop him, you know, because you're not getting anything out of him. Although there's, you know, it's a weird season. Got stuff all over the place.
You know what? Every sport is a weird season this year. No doubt. No doubt at all. It's just crazy. I've never seen it like the NFL's Jekyll and Hyde. And on any given week, somebody can, you know, when you say that's why we play the games, it's legitimately true this year.
It's true. It's very true.
Like a couple weeks ago, Jacksonville beats Tennessee. This week, the Steelers beat them, and neither team had any business winning those games. Neither team.
No.
Terrible.
Yeah, like you said. And you don't expect Tom Brady to not score.
I will be a passionate Raiders fan today because of the injustice of giving the Browns the chance to recover and they're still letting them play a home game. And like we talked about offline, there's no way they should have penalized the Browns, either made them forfeit or at least made them fly to Las Vegas and play in Las Vegas. Which is what the Raiders asked for. They said, why should we be penalized? And it's legit.
Yeah, and especially after seeing how it penalized teams last year. And again, I know the Steelers were fraudulent 11-0 and it wasn't, you know, but it derailed their season when it happened.
Yeah.
Oh, and I guess while I mentioned the Steelers out loud, I have to say something else. But congrats to T.J. Watt.
Congrats to T.J. Watt. Congrats to James Harrison for the classy announcement.
Yes.
The classy video that he made.
For those who don't know, T.J. Watt is now the single-season all-time sack holder for the Steelers. And he's done it in not a full season, and he's missed 2 games already.
And he's the NFL leader right now, and he's missed 2 games. And even though they keep talking about Myles Garrett as Defensive Player of the Year, there's no way. T.J. Watt is better than Myles Garrett, and he's missed two full games plus probably 2 half games.
And again, bringing in analytics that we love, Myles Garrett's only getting pressure on 15% of his rushes. T.J. Watt is getting 33% of his rushes. So,
yeah.
I mean, even when he's not getting...
He's a better player. He should have won Defensive Player last year.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, the only player I think this year that's really come close is maybe Micah Parsons. I think he's been better than Garrett as well.
Yeah, Micah Parsons has been awesome.
I mean, he's going to win defensive. I mean, that's the only award I think you can say, you know, including like who's going to win games. I can't see any defensive rookie being other than Micah Parsons winning Defensive Player, the Rookie of the Year.
No, he's played like every different position too. He played linebacker. He's played on the line. He's played everywhere. He's awesome.
Just phenomenal.
But he shouldn't have fell to the Cowboys anyway. He should have been drafted higher than that.
Oh yeah,
A lot of people missed on that one. But then it was the quarterback situation too, and there were so many quarterbacks that threw everything off. Mm-hmm. So we saw the first mock draft of the season last week, and I like Kenny Pickett going to the Steelers at number 12. And I know you said you better have an offensive lineman. I can't disagree with that either.
Or a defensive lineman at this point.
If you think Kenny Pickett is the future, and you got a shot at getting him at 12, and you're the team that took Mark Malone over eventually over Dan Marino, there you go.
Yeah.
You're not going to make that mistake twice. You're not going to overlook a guy that's been in your backyard for 4 years that you've watched. And if you think he's a legit NFL quarterback, you got to take him.
True. Or if you find the next Casey Hampton is sitting there, because your defensive line is trash, and you're the 31st team against the run. So.
Yeah. Yep. I missed the big snack.
Yeah. I mean, when it was Tuitt, Hayward, and Tyson Alualu, that was an outstanding 3-4 front.
Yeah.
But now that it's just, we don't know what Tuitt's future is. We don't know what Alu had a serious injury over 30, and then Casey Hayward's he's in his 30s, so.
Yeah.
They need some depth, and I don't think it's Isaiah Loudermilk or Wormley, no matter how good Wormley's played the last few weeks.
You know what? I've been pleasantly surprised by both of those two, though.
Yeah. They seem like good rotation guys, but...
Yeah.
Well, I think let's probably cover sports, but I know you've got a lot of food and entertainment, right?
I do. So let me talk about entertainment. I saw 3 Broadway shows last week. I saw Ain't Too Proud to Beg about the Temptations, which is very similar to the same style as Jersey Boys, with the music and the story of how they got where they are and the problems that they had overcome. We saw Girl from the North Country, which was set in the Depression and featured the music of Bob Dylan. And the music was outstanding. The story could have been one of the most depressing stories I've ever seen.
Oh, wow.
Without one likable character in the cast. I mean, it was just depressing. That's all I could say about it. And then the impulse buy, I was looking and I saw a Sherlock Carol, and it was off Broadway. And I thought, this sounds interesting. It's combining Sherlock Holmes with Charles Dickens. And I'm a great literature guy, as are you, and I like those kind of things. So we went, and I wasn't pleasantly surprised. My expectations were met and exceeded, because it was very, very clever, very, very funny, and a really good holiday story for Christmas time. And so basically, if you get a chance to see the show, the premise is that Moriarty's been killed. Holmes can't find himself. He's become depressed. He has no sense of life, no sense of what he wants to do, and he's becoming a humbug. And Tiny Tim is now a doctor, and Scrooge dies, and Scrooge has been Tiny Tim's benefactor, and so he thinks the death was mysterious, so they ask Holmes to investigate the death of Scrooge. And then Holmes meets Scrooge's ghost, who plays the role of the ghost in Christmas Carol, and shows Holmes what he used to be and what he is now and what he could be, positively or negatively. And it is just unbelievably funny. Just a great show and so clever. But a lot of fun. And then, as I told you offline, 6 actors. 1 just plays Holmes. 1 just plays Scrooge. And 1 person was like Watson, a merchant, a housekeeper. I mean, just, the depth of some of these actors and actresses on Broadway. This is off Broadway. They were as good as any actress I've seen. And I was really impressed. And we talked about, how hard it is to get your break. And I mean, how many times you play a part where you're in a plane, you're playing 4 or 5 roles. I mean, that's a lot of preparation, but it should show people how talented you are, what your range is.
Very true.
But those 3 were outstanding. And then we went to the movie theater for the first time since 2019. And we saw Midnight Out. Midnight Out?
Nightmare Alley.
Nightmare Alley. And if you like noir, like Jason and I do, it was outstanding. The acting was tremendous. The story was tremendous. The settings are great. It's a noir story, and it has noir twists in it. So, I mean, it was really, really good. And the time flew. It was like, it was 2 hours and 20 minutes. And the time flew, and it was in a movie theater, and there was probably, I would say, 20, 25 people. We deliberately picked a time that wouldn't be popular. We picked Saturday morning at 11:50. And I thought there wouldn't be a lot of people there, and I was right.
True.
So that was the time we picked, and it was outstanding. And so those are my entertainment moments. If a Sherlock Carroll ever travels, which I don't know if it will or not, it's over on Broadway January 2nd. It's just kind of a holiday thing.
Yeah.
But if it ever travels, go see it. And then if you're ready to go to a movie theater, go see Nightmare Alley if you like noir. If you don't like noir, maybe not. But Bradley Cooper was exceptional in it. Cate Blanchett was exceptional as the typical, well, not in every, but a lot of noir, you have a femme fatale. She's a great femme fatale.
Well, I am looking forward to watching that one at some point.
You will enjoy it. Like I said, it'll be reminiscent of a lot of the things that we've watched together that we've really liked. You'll like the movie.
Excellent. I don't think I really have any entertainment this week.
Do you have food?
I don't even have food. I got nothing.
All right, I got food. So if you follow me on Twitter, I posted my veal chop, my veal parmesan from Trattoria dell'Arte on 7th Avenue near Carnegie Hall that I had last Sunday night. It was exceptional. If you look close at the picture, it looks like a pizza, but you'll see a bone on the side. The veal was tender, plenty of cheese, plenty of sauce, great flavor. We also went to Spark Steakhouse, which I've talked about before. That was exceptional. We went to Carmine's, which is family style. It's the same people that own Virgil's in Times Square. We went to that before we went to the show and had chicken contadina, which is like a roasted chicken with roasted Italian sausage and peppers. And it was exceptional.
That's the place with the giant meatballs, right?
It is the place with the giant meatballs. Yeah.
Okay.
It's right down in Times Square.
As you know.
I haven't been there probably since I've been here with you.
Yeah. Giant almost everything. Time. The meatball, like giant everything, is just a disappointment most of the time. So.
Yeah. Except for Al Familia in Pittsburgh, where the giant meatball is the best meatball I've ever had in a restaurant.
Which is crazy, yeah.
Which is crazy. So I had those two. At Angelo's Cold-Oven Pizza, which you would love because the pepperoni curls up.
I do like curly pepperoni.
It has a little bit of a smoky taste because it's cooked in a coal oven. That's exceptional. Had a couple really good breakfasts at a new place called the Carnegie Diner up on 7th as well, and those were exceptional. I had blueberry pancakes one morning, had an omelet. I had, you're in New York, you're going to have great food everywhere you go. You're going to pay ridiculous prices, but I had great food everywhere I went.
Nice.
It was an exceptional week in New York. The weather was in the 50s and 60s. It was dry. It didn't rain. We walked everywhere, got a lot of steps in. And like I said, great shows, great food, great place to stay.
Nice.
It's a great week.
Well, this is our last show of the year. I've recorded an episode with my cousin Kaylee that's going to release probably later in the week. So, and that'll sort of wrap up. Unless do you have any best of things that TV or movies you want to throw out there before we?
I'm enjoying Wheel in Time on
Amazon.
On Prime Video. I really like it. I think it's been really well done. And I've talked about that for a couple weeks. No, I think that's, I'm good. I've been watching Inspector, which is, one of those cable networks, and they're doing Duke the Hall, so it's a John Wayne month, and I've been enjoying my John Wayne. So if you like John Wayne, and then I've been watching, my Turner Classic as usual, but no, nothing special.
Okay.
thank everybody. Thank you everyone for following us, supporting us, and listening to us, putting up with us, supporting us with Patreon. We wish you the happiest of holidays. We hope that 2022 is an even better year than 2021, which didn't have a long way to go because 2020 sucked. But I'm hoping that 2022 has fewer variants and more vaccinated people.
Yes, indeed. All right. So until next year.
Everybody, enjoy your football. Take care.